Laptop computer spins onto the screen, opens, and displays ATP Education Program webinar series, closes, and then spins off the screen.
Hello and welcome to this video on assistive technology supports for students who struggle with memory. Today we're going to spend time looking specifically at assistive technology that works for executive functioning, but more importantly, specifically for students who are struggling with their memory. If you've not been here before, my name is Cassie Frost. I'm an assistive technology specialist, behavior specialist, problem solver, collector of things that may come in handy, and believer that everyone can learn. My Twitter handle is here on this page, and my contact information will also be on the last slide. Before we can talk too much about tools for memory and to support those who struggle with it, let's look specifically at the process of memory. In order for a student to have good executive functioning in the area of memory, the following process must work well. A student must have attention, be able to encode the information that they observe, store it, consolidate it, and then retrieve it again. As you can tell, there's a lot of different areas involved with memory. The very first one of those being attention. Attention is another area of executive functioning where many students struggle. If a student is struggling with attention, likely they're going to also have struggles with memory, since that is the first step in the process. Once a student has attention and is able to take in information, that information has to be encoded into a way that the brain can keep track of it. It has to be stored. It has to be consolidated, which means your brain has to decide which things are important to keep and which things maybe we are able to forget or are not as important. And then that information has to be able to be retrieved. If there's any breakdown at any one of these steps along the way, students are going to struggle with memory. So let's spend some time today, and in this short video, looking at ways that we can help support students. We're going to look at a few general tools. We're going to look at some Chrome extensions, some iOS apps and tools, as well as some low-tech ideas for assistive technology for students who struggle with memory. The very first thing that I like talking about when we're talking about supporting memory is a QR code. A QR code is this little box here on the top of the screen. QR codes are much like barcodes in that they contain information and they can be scanned. However, barcodes can only be read left to right. A QR code can be scanned left to right and up to down. They also can be positioned in any direction, making them easier for a student to scan and read. QR codes can contain information just like a barcode. This means that it will encode whatever data that you give it. A QR code can contain links, it can contain audio, it can contain text. This means that it's a really easy way to get information to students. Oftentimes, this works really well for students who may struggle with typing in a web address or getting to a specific spot online. It may also work for students who need remediation and may need to look at information a second time, but they don't want to make it obvious. So again, if you're looking at students in the junior highs or high schools who maybe don't want it as obvious that they need to see the information a second time, a QR code is a really convenient and unobtrusive way to get that information to them. In order to use a QR code, you're simply going to use a QR code scanner, or most cell phones or iPads now, and even most Chromebooks, the built-in camera will also read a QR code. So any one of those will simply read the QR code and take the student to where the information is. In order to use a QR code for memory, it can be used to provide links to students that may struggle with typing in long URLs. It is great for remediation for students who may need to review an assignment. So for an example, if a student is taught an activity or a process in a math class, then when they get home that night, they've forgotten how to do it. If the teacher has demonstrated and created a short video of how to do that problem, they simply can make a QR code and copy it onto that worksheet. That way, when the student gets home, they can scan it and watch how to do the task again so that they can remember it. It also is great for providing audio links for recordings for worksheets, books, etc., things that students may need to go back and hear again later. One of my favorite sites for creating a QR code is called qrstuff.com, and my site closed here, so I'm going to open it back up. There's many different places that you can create QR codes. There are websites, there are Chrome extensions. This tends to be my go-to. There is an option now for a paid version of this. I've never had to use it, but it is there. With the free version, you can only have 50 scans of your QR code. So if you anticipate that more than 50 students are going to be using the QR code, you may want to look at a different option for creating your QR codes, just so that it's not a cost prohibitive thing. But I just want to show you how quickly it is to be able to make QR codes. You simply can go down here to put in your URL. We're just going to go with that one because it was handy. You'll see this QR code over here simply changed to contain the information here, and I can download it. It's that simple. Now, anytime that a camera or a QR reader would scan this code, it's automatically going to take them to this web address. So it's a really, again, quick and easy way for students to get information. While we're kind of out of the slide deck here, I also want to show you a few Chrome extensions that work well for memory. If you were watching my video on Chrome extensions, you'll see some of these also appeared in that video, but we're going to look at them a little bit closer, specific to their use for memory. The very first one on here is called My Homework Reminder. It's a simple extension that allows a student to keep track of their homework or their to-do list right on their Chrome screen. This is great for students who struggle with memory because they don't need to go out and try to remember to log into any calendar, any external lists. It's right here where they're spending most of the time looking at their schoolwork. So if they get an assignment in class, they simply can go to the assignment box and type it in. Paint a picture. I don't know if that's really a great homework assignment, but I'm going to say it is. They then can pick the due date for the assignment, click save, and it gets added to the list. So again, a student who's struggling with memory and maybe doesn't need to go out a bunch of other places to keep track of things, this Chrome extension puts it right here in front of them where it's easy for them to get at. The second Chrome extension that works really well for memory is an extension called Google Keep. Now, Google Keep is a completely separate website as well that you can store information in. So I'm going to go to Google Keep here quickly. And again, Google Keep is a place where you can keep a bunch of links, videos, websites, all of the above that students then can go in and look at later. You can write notes, you can color code, you can pin things. There's a whole bunch of ways to keep track of information here. But specifically for memory, I wanted to show that there is a Chrome extension called Save to Keep. What's really nice about this Chrome extension is when I click on it, it is now going to save this particular website here to Google Keep. So just that simply, I have a link to the site. I can take a note here that says, go back and add more color. I don't know, whatever it is I still need to do. I can add a label to it. Okay. And you're going to see it's automatically saving it to Google Keep right here. So the really nice thing about this now is now once I close this, get out of it, if I go to my Google Keep, it will show up here. But more importantly, if I come back to this website, so if I go out to this website, you're going to see that my Google Keep is grayed out. But when I come back to this website, you're going to see that it's now yellow. When I click on that, it's going to remind me of my note. So it's going to tell me what was it that I needed to do on this website. It allows me to keep notes or information specific to a website ready to go. So for students who struggle with memory, this allows them to have a way to keep track of specific information for a website. Maybe what they needed to do on the website, or what the next assignment was, or certain information that they need to keep track of specific to that exact website. The last extension that I want to talk about when it comes to Chrome extensions is called Tab Snooze. Tab Snooze is a simple little extension that allows you to snooze or hide tabs until later. For students who struggle with memory, it can be really difficult to keep track of all of the different tabs and websites that they need to go to online. There are tools such as bookmarks, and we'll talk about them in other videos as well, where you can keep track of websites and you can save them. Unfortunately, with bookmarks, it requires a student to remember to go back and look for it. This can be really difficult for a student who struggles with memory. Snooze Tab helps out with this by allowing a student to pick when they want to see a website again and then sending it away, and it will come back at the time they require. So let's try that with this QR code tab. So for example, a student is using this QR code creator and they're going to know they're going to need to use it again tomorrow in class. They're afraid they're going to forget it. Simply go up to tab snooze and they can say that they want to see it tomorrow. Now that does mean that it will come up at 8 a.m. So if instead I want to pick a specific time, I can pick that I want to see it tomorrow at, I don't know, let's go with 2 p.m. I can click snooze. That tab is going to go away, but now it's going to automatically come back so students can continue their work at the time that they picked. So for students who struggle with memory, having those tabs come back automatically can make a huge, huge difference. Now that we've looked at some Chrome extensions, let's move out and look a little bit at a couple of iOS tools. I know that there's people that use a whole bunch of different systems, so I'm really going to try to show a couple of examples of tools in each one. There's many more than what I'm going to show, but I really like being able to show just a couple of my favorites in each one of these areas. So the very first one is an app called ChoiceWorks. It is paid, but it does provide visual schedules for students who struggle with memory. Now, the way that this works, I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger here. So this is what ChoiceWorks look like. You simply can see that it will allow you to put in a schedule or multiple schedules. So this is a student's school schedule. You're going to see that you can move things back and forth. So first I need to, now it's all done. If a student needs more of a visual social story, you can create and record videos that when you click on, it will actually play the video for you so the student can see the video in action. And at the bottom, it also can say what you can do at the end. Again, videos of what is happening. If I go back out of that, you'll see that there's multiple schedules here to help students who struggle with memory. It also has some social stories for waiting and being worried and being upset. At the bottom, you can see that there are different schedules. You can go ahead and use the plus and the edit at the top to change and add and adjust and make new schedules for students. So while this is a paid app, it's a really, really powerful app for students who struggle with memory and maybe need multiple schedules or routines kind of demonstrated for them throughout the day. It allows you to add whatever icons or pictures that you want. As you can tell here, this one is pretty basic or maybe more of those icon based. But like waiting for the bus, you can see they actually used a regular photograph here. So you can customize this quite a bit. But it's a pretty powerful tool for students who need multiple schedules throughout the day at a touch of a button. The other iOS tool that I absolutely love is the iOS camera. It's free, it's built in, every iPad and iOS device has them. But what's really great about it is that you can use it as a QR reader. So if you're using QR codes to share information for students, they can simply take a picture of it. But also for memory, I really work with students on taking pictures of things that they are going to need to remember later. So this may be taking a picture of a completed assignment, so they have an example for the next day. It could be taking a picture of the board in the classroom that has the list of assignments. It could be taking a picture of a locker that's all organized so students know where to put things back. So for students who struggle with memory, a simple camera can be a really, really powerful tool. And let's take a couple minutes and look at low tech, because while high tech is super cool, it's also really handy to have some low tech tools to support memory ready to go. My favorite for this is, no surprise, it's Post-it notes. Post-it notes are a really great way for a teacher to jot down information to remind students of things that they need to do. It's also a great tool for students to be able to write down information that they're going to need to remember for later. These can be placed on inside pockets of folders or notebooks. They can be placed on students' desks. Because of the sticky nature of Post-it notes or other sticky pad paper, it allows students to write themselves information and notes and keep it with them wherever they go. Kind of along that same line, another great assistive technology for students who struggle with memory are visuals. Visuals provide a way for students to have less cognitive load when they're trying to remember what it is they need to do because the visual is right there for them. This can be as simple as labeling shelves or labeling drawers with the information of what is inside so students do not have to try to remember. Certain routines such as hand washing, sharpening your pencil, turning in assignments, any of those routines, creating a visual for. And as always, visual schedules, having a schedule of a student's day that they can glance at and know what's coming next. Each of these is a simple, low-tech, cost-effective way to support students who are struggling with memory. I hope you found something in this video that's supportive or helpful for the students that you work with. Remember, as we go through, there's always going to be some high-tech and some low-tech options, and hopefully you can also think of some jumping-off points for other resources that you have available in your classroom. If you have any questions, you can reach me at the email and Twitter handle on the screen, and I hope that you join me in the future for further videos.
Thank you for watching. For more information on the ATP Education Program, please visit our website at atp.nebraska.gov/education or email us at atp.education@nebraska.gov.